Good afternoon, class. My name is Cameron Burr, and the topic today that I would like to present to you is workplace incentives and how they affect our professional relationships. Furthermore, how do non-financial and financial incentives motivate our behaviors? And after that, is professional gift giving justifiable and ethical? The reason why I selected this topic is, as we go through our college careers, we are going through it with the intent on achieving and obtaining a professional career. During those working years, how are we going to be valued? How are we going to be incentivized? And what will that do to influence or motivate our behaviors? This is extremely important because as we go through these actions every day, it is very important that the culture at our establishment is such that we want to come back, that we enjoy coming to work, and that as a team, we can make this world a better place, improve our economy, and make our lives more enjoyable. So, class, what motivates you? What motivates our workforce? How do we motivate and build a better working environment? Today, I'm going to outline how we're going to accomplish this task and what you can expect from this presentation. First, we're going to go over the types of incentives. Then we'll go over the pros and cons of those incentives. And then lastly, we'll go over the gift-giving cultures and how it influences their economy and their business relationships. So first, we're going to go to the whiteboard here and talk about the types of incentives. Okay, as you can see, we have financial and non-financial incentives. Okay, first, obviously, we have standard pay and bonuses. We have profit sharing. There's stock options. And then lastly, we've got 401k, retirement, and health benefits. I think we can all agree that all of these things are very beneficial and motivating for us as employees to stick with a company, to show our allegiance to a company. However, with these financial benefits, a lot of them are immediate, a lot of them are tangible, a lot of them can be readily disposed, and in the end, will not affect whether or not we stick with a company long term, and it will not help our success as a person and as a team and build that environment that we're looking for. For non-financial incentives, some of the benefits would be job security, empowerment, okay, leadership opportunities, and advancement within the company. Okay, these non-financial incentives help keep you around long term, right? If you're going into a company and you know that you have job security and your superiors or your direct reports are constantly communicating to you how well you're doing, they're giving you leadership opportunities, they're talking about your advancement potential, psychologically, this affects you in a positive way and helps you stay motivated to come into work, to learn something new, and to bring that effort every day. All right, So next, we're going to go over the pros and cons of some of these benefits. All right, so if I were to bring this to you at work, hand it to you, and say, hey, thanks for the work today, you did a great job, here's some money. You would probably feel really happy about yourself and what you were able to accomplish that day. But again, it's that day. Once you spend that money, or once you've allocated it to a different part of your budget or your funds or your enjoyment, once the money's gone, what's left? There's not going to be a lot. Okay, some of the pros to our incentives: they build confidence, they build stronger relationships, they are self-gratifying, they increase your value and they increase your bank account, obviously. They influence your commitment at work. They help you feel like your potential can be increased. And overall is job security. Some of the cons to incentives: obviously the cost for the company as a whole. If you're handing out these benefits, it's going to cost somebody somewhere. These incentives, are they short-term? Are they long-term? If it's a non-financial incentive, it's going to be more long-term based. If it's going to be a cash bonus, it's more short-term. Are these incentives sustainable? If you do this on a repetitive or a continual basis, is this something that can last long-term and over the breadth of your whole company? Are you incentivizing based on real behaviors or fake behaviors? Sometimes our incentives can be considered as nepotism, favoritism, and it's hard to establish that culture where everyone motivates each other. And lastly, like I said before, what type of culture are you trying to establish? In one of my other courses, we were tasked with reading this book. It's called The Cultural Dimension of Global Business. And in this book, the author, Gary Farrow, talks about building that culture within your company and different ways you can do that. Okay, we've talked about financial incentives and non-financial incentives. It is my belief that through non-financial incentives, you can build a more reputable, more sustainable culture that can be transferred from one department to the next. It can be transferred from one company to the next, where you're dealing with a bunch of dynamic employees, things that change often. Sometimes money will motivate somebody, but sometimes it won't. However, if you are constantly giving those compliments of praise and giving them those leadership opportunities and building their confidence, then they're more willing to stick with the company. In this book by Gary, he talks about how you can change your business culture. Okay? And in it, he talks about the cultures throughout the world, like Japan, Italy, Turkey. It is very common in those cultures when you are going to meet with potential customers or clients that you bring a gift upon that initial meeting where you give them something. It's going to be a unique gift from the area, from the geography that you're coming from, or from the industry that you're coming from, to help represent and solidify that foundation for that relationship. And here in America, it's not as common, right? A lot of our business is immediate. We look for the quickest way to make money, and that's not always the best thing, right? It's my hope and proposal that as an American society, within our culture, when we're going to work and complementing new ways to make revenue for our companies, that we think outside the box. By gift giving, I'm not saying it has to be something elaborate or expensive, but as long as it's genuine, sincere, and unique, this is something that'll help foster a relationship that can be sustainable long term. And as we've seen through this presentation, incentives and gifts and bonuses and things like that are all about long-term sustainability and creating a culture that we can continue on and pass on to other businesses. And it is my hope today that through this brief presentation, we've learned a couple things about incentives in the workplace, how to develop a relationship with those we work with, whether it's a colleague or a customer or client. And in this season of gift giving, with Christmas around the way, I have a couple things that I would like to suggest that you guys take action on, and just take the time this month to really look at it. So the first thing is to write a personalized, detailed letter to each member of your team, expressing why you value your relationship with them and things that you appreciate about them. And secondly, if you have the ability and you are working with new potential clients or customers every day, I want you to reach out to one of those, okay? And give them something that's personalized, it's unique, and in that gift, I want you to request a future potential meeting where you can talk about your relationship with them going forward. Thank you so much for listening today. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to come up and talk to me afterwards. Thank you.